Alright, so next up we have a backstage segment furthering the idea that Dolph Ziggler and Maria are a couple. We see Dolph Ziggler doing some elevated press-ups, and Maria comes along and kisses his bicep, which was just a bit disgusting, to be honest. And next we have an interview with Edge, the injured Edge, the tragically injured Edge, injury to his Achilles tendon. He might not come back from that. I mean, I know it's all kayfabe and they're hyping it up, but some people really don't come back from Achilles tendon injuries, so I really hope he's alright. He says that he's been in the business for 17 years, and says that this injury is the worst he's ever sustained and it could be the end of his career, which almost disturbingly gets a small pop, but then the audience gets a hold of itself. He says he's found out that it's the hardest injury to come back from, but he'll do everything in his power to return and become a champion because that's what he does, and it is what he does. He's been the world champion 9 times. This interview doesn't go on for a particularly long time before Grisham asks Edge if he has anything to say about Chris Jericho, and immediately Chris Jericho's music hits, who appears to interrupt the interview. And I think based on this interview, they might be considering bringing Edge back when he recovers as a face. Edge was such a well-established heel and such a good heel that I think an injury is the only way they could ever make Edge a face, and even the injury wouldn't be enough. What's enough is that Chris Jericho has mastered the art of being the perfect heel so well that he could literally turn anyone face. You could turn anyone face by just having them be berated by Chris Jericho for a while. So I think when Edge comes back, they may bring him back as a face, and they may have him feud with Chris Jericho, which will, well, I was going to say it would be potentially the best wrestling feud of the decade, but I suppose it wouldn't be. It would be the first great wrestling feud of the next decade. Fuck, that's crazy. Anyway, Jericho says that Edge makes him sick and is a pathetic excuse for a human being, and says he's just looking for sympathy, but he won't get it from Chris Jericho because Edge doesn't care about the championships or the WWE or Chris Jericho. I love that. I love that Jericho's just like, you don't care about Chris Jericho when that's fucking torn his Achilles tendon. It's so egotistical, it's so self-absorbed, it's just perfect, it's so delicious. I love it. It's fantastic, self-indulgent promo. It's wonderful. And he says he won't be punished for Edge's selfishness, and he's going to find a partner who's better than Edge in every way so he can continue his reign as ruler of the WWE Universe. I thought his partner was going to be Ziggler. I was really genuinely convinced that it would be Ziggler, but Ziggler is in an Intercontinental title match at Night of Champions, so maybe it won't be Ziggler, and if it's not going to be Ziggler, I don't have a fucking clue who it's going to be. I'm curious. It probably will be Ziggler. They'll probably have the Intercontinental title match first, and Ziggler will probably lose, and then he'll be Jericho's partner. That's what I'm going to pick. But I'd love it if it was someone else. But all the people that are away that could come back are faces, like The Undertaker's a face, and Shawn Michaels is a face. It doesn't really work. So it probably will be Ziggler. Kind of unexciting. Anyway, he says that Chris Jericho says that he has earned all of the championships he's ever won through his ability, whereas Edge hasn't. He's just capitalized on circumstance, which is his character, so that's probably what he does, although Jericho is kind of neglecting to mention here the last world championship that he attained, which he basically won by capitalizing on circumstance because he didn't do anything to win it. He says that Edge's injuries are his most impressive list of accomplishments, and Edge has had a pretty hefty, shoulder, broken neck, Achilles tendon. The man's going to be a wreck. And he says Jericho says Edge is just injured, frail, and weak. And he says he's never been injured a day in his career. Which, is fair. If anyone can tell me a serious injury that Chris Jericho has sustained that I don't know about to contradict this statement, let me know. Says that Edge was never in his league in the first place and was the weak link in the team, which is funny seeing as Edge always got the pinfall for the team. Edge comes back and stays calm, unusually for Edge, again making me think they might bring him back as a face. It says he doesn't need anyone, let alone Chris Jericho, to make a personal attack on him at this time. And he says if he comes back, no, when he comes back. Which gets a pop, which was great. I loved that when he said when he comes back, he got a pop. Edge deserves a pop. Edge works really fucking hard for you people. He says he'll prove Jericho and everyone else wrong. So I hope he recovers, and I hope he recovers in time to win the Royal Rumble. I don't think he will. It's a serious injury, but we'll see. And then we have the main event. I haven't written an awful lot about it. Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio take on Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler. CM Punk comes in for commentary but remains pretty silent for the whole match. He was disappointingly silent because Punk is good at commentary. This match was quite good. It wasn't excellent, it wasn't great, but it was quite good. It was quite solid. I quite enjoyed it. I haven't taken as many notes as I would like, so it's probably not going to be as detailed an account as we might have. But Ziggler hit a really nice high elevation elbow drop to Jeff Hardy. I know, it's just an elbow drop, but things like the elbow drop or Randy Orton's knee drop, it's so good to see the wrestler make the effort to get high elevation. It makes such a difference to the visual experience for the fan. Mysterio hits the 619 on Chris Jericho and then hits the frog splash, but while Jericho was in position for the 619 and Mysterio was running away into the ropes to come back, Ziggler hits a blind tag. No, he doesn't hit the frog splash, sorry. When he goes for the frog splash after the 619, Ziggler pulls Mysterio back off the apron, head first into the barrier, which is pretty sick. It's pretty nasty. We move on, and Hardy ends up hitting Jericho with a Whisper in the Wind, which for once connects with his leg and foot, which is what it's supposed to connect with. For once he hits it right. Hardy hits the Twist of Fate and then the Swanton on Jericho, but Ziggler comes back to break the count. And the action moves outside, and Hardy and Punk stare each other down. And then Punk pushes Jericho into Hardy, getting Jericho and Ziggler disqualified, but the outcome of this match is really not important. It's one of those ones where it doesn't really seem to matter. Ziggler sneaks up behind Mysterio on the outside and hits his finisher on him, that kind of reverse pay dirt neck breaker thing, which I'm still in two minds about. It could be a lot worse, but it could be a lot better. It's not exactly pay dirt, but it was nice to see it hit on the outside. I like moves being hit on the outside. And then Jericho hits the code breaker. He only manages to connect with one knee, but it's still pretty cool. It still looks really nice on Hardy, and then just puts him in the walls of Jericho for absolutely ages until they go off camera. And there was this look of joy on Jericho's face, this look of absolute satisfaction. I loved it, and it was a really good way to show that Hardy might be debilitated. And Punk doesn't care. Punk swans off up the ramp and leaves him to be punished by Jericho. And I just thought it was a great way to end the show, just to watch the number one contender being absolutely destroyed by the walls of Jericho in the middle of the ring for a good long while. So yeah, this show was much better than last week's and much better than Raw. This show, wrestling wise, was sound. The wrestling, out of 4 matches, 2 matches were really good. Punk and Morrison was really good, could have been excellent if it had started off a little better, and the main event, the tag match, was good, really quite good. Kane and R-Truth wasn't particularly good, but it wasn't totally horrendous because R-Truth is good at saving that kind of thing, but it wasn't really that good. And the 6-person intergender tag match, the Hart Dynasty, the 3 of them looked great and saved it because Crime Time looked awful. Eve looked better than Shad did. JTG, I'm not convinced yet, but he's alright. It was the other segments, it was the other things that ruined this. SmackDown needs to sort itself out. It should focus on the wrestling, which is what it was doing before, and it was working so well. I'm crossing my fingers that they get back to it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope I haven't rambled on too much. Sorry it's late again. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you thought. Let's chat about it. Let's have some chats. Rate the video, and please, if you liked it, please subscribe. We'd love to have you as our subscribers. And take care of yourselves. Have a nice day. Catch you guys later.